This is a tree. Now, I am no arborist, so I cannot tell you exactly how sap flows inside a tree, how certain things affect the bark. Hell, I can't even tell you the migratory flight pattern of a European or an African swallow. So, I don't know. But I've been dealing with trees my entire life, and there's a few things I have figured out in the real world. One is, trees are tough. Those things are resilient. I mean, think about it. You got bears clawing these things. You've got woodpeckers nailing them. Ants, insects, living inside, eating away at it. What else you got out there? Squirrels running up and down these things all day long. So, in reality, trees are very, very resilient. Here's another fact. Not all trees are the same. Different species have different types of resiliency. Some trees can take a beating and they're gangsta. Other trees are little wimpy little things in the forest, and if you put something around it, chances are you might damage the bark. In fact, maybe even damage the tree itself. So if you don't know exactly what type of tree you're hanging from, chances are you may or may not be causing that tree some harm. I don't know, but you gotta do some research. Here's some more facts. Fact number 3, and this one is kind of really important. Hammock camping and also ultralight and super ultralight backpacking are in the extreme minority. I know sometimes you consume yourself with some of this data and you surround yourself with people that have the same ideas, but in reality, we're the minority, because I'm also an ultralight backpacker. My base weight for summer is 7 pounds, and for 3 season, it's 8.5 pounds. So I understand, sometimes you get so involved in what you're trying to do, you think the entire world's doing it, and they're not. And the public perception with hammock camping right now is not really great. A lot of park rangers and state parks view hammock camping in a very negative way. So if you were to take a piece of rope, be it paracord or whoopee slings or anything, and tie it around the tree, and if you may or may not leave a mark, a ranger may come around and give you a hard time. However, if you have a strap, 1 inch or 1.5 inch thick polyester strap, you can actually make a really good case that the weight is being dispersed really evenly, where it's not going to harm the tree in any way. That's a pretty good fact, and it's been used several times, including myself. So, although knocking out the tree straps would save about 2 ounces, you'd probably cost yourself a little bit of aggravation. If all I camp is in state parks, which is probably the minority of people who are getting into hammock camping or camping in general, chances are you might run into a problem. So you could either look for different ways to lighten your base weight, which you could look for a different hammock, which is lighter, because there are lighter hammocks out there, or you can take a chance and have a negative perception in the public. It's up to you. Bulky? I don't know. Doesn't seem that bulky to me. The suspension system's complicated, huh? Let's do this in real time. nothing too complicated. I don't know. Let's take a seat. Yeah, it's on there. I don't know. Complicated? You decide. Don't really seal up completely, huh? Let's take a look. And what's really great about this particular partial underquilt is that it has what's called a draft tube, where if you lay in the hammock, the mention was that the hammock doesn't really lay completely flat when you're in the hammock, which is absolutely true. You do have what's called, I guess, pleats, where it kind of bunches up and allows a little bit of air channels. What this does is it kind of mitigates, I'd say, probably 80% of that. Some air does escape, which is the truth. I'm not going to deny that. But the air that escapes, I would actually call it inconsequential. Because, again, I've tested this thing down to 27 degrees, and I was fine. I did feel that this underquilt did begin to lose its ability to keep me warm below 27 degrees Fahrenheit. But this is a 30-degree underquilt, and that's what it does, and the rating's good. This is what's called a 2/3 underquilt. It's in the category of partial underquilts, whereby it doesn't go from end to end of the hammock. And this particular one is the smallest one out there. It's really geared towards people going through ultra height and lightweight backpacking. The suspension is really quite simple. It's just a continuous shock cord that goes through a channel, so you can move this up and down depending on where you are in the hammock, and it connects to the gathered end. This particular quilt covers from your neck down to the middle of your thighs, and you are supposed to be using some sort of leg insulation. 1/8 inch Gosh McGear thin line pad is plenty enough down to 27 degrees. I should know. I've tested it down to that. If you notice in the video, this underquilt weighs 11.7 ounces. That's if you take away the 0.3 ounces that the stuff sack that it comes with weighs in. You can go lighter. This particular underquilt is rated down to 30 degrees. You can actually have the fabric made from a different material. This is ripstop nylon. From Momentum fabric would definitely lighten this up a little bit. Also, because it's rated at 30 degrees, you can also take another ounce of down out of it and get it down to 40 degrees. So therefore, you could probably, realistically, if you want to make this a summer quilt, different material, less down, probably get it in the 8-ounce range. It's true. Alright, let's tackle some other... I'm hearing some comments on the internet. It's basically saying that the underquilt really covers too much area and it's being inefficient. Which, you know, I can kind of see something like that. There is a little bit of extra fabric that goes on the side. But most people do something what's called moving around in the hammock, you know, and it's I think it's starting to catch on, moving around, and having something that just fits your silhouette doesn't allow you to move around too much, because, you know, I don't tend to like to stay in one spot all night, although sometimes I do. I'm a human being. I like to change my position. And in doing so, I like to have something that's a little more versatile. Another thing that I'm noticing is there's no need for an underquilt. And the fact is probably right. Why a lot of people are really going towards underquilts is because it's really comfortable to lay in a hammock. The hammock itself, it really is. And to bring something inside the hammock to use as insulation kind of decreases the comfort a little bit. So what underquilts do is it takes that away. I don't have to deal with the pad moving around on me inside the hammock. So I can move around freely and I still have the same comfort and I'm staying insulated. That's an important concept. It's really being missed right now. There's something else that you also have to be aware of that becomes a problem when you're using pads. Sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it does. Something called condensation. Now when you're laying directly on a pad in a hammock, for some reason you tend to get some sort of condensation. Whereas underquilts breathe. They breathe very well. So I've been using this particular underquilt, which is a Warbonnet Yeti, 2/3 underquilt, in a variety of different scenarios. Windy days like today, down to freezing, it's 27 degrees Fahrenheit for this particular model. Foggy, rainy, torrential downpours, and misting from the ground when the rain is slamming down on the ground and splashing back up. This thing has seen it all. And in the morning, when I wake up, not only is my back dry, my body heat, because this breeze, dries out the underquilt as well. So that's another reason why underquilts are kind of favored in the hammock community. I'm not saying that this is the best and end-all solution, but it's a solution. And underquilts, for the past year, have been really, really innovated. Big time. Cuban is now being integrated in underquilts. Lighter materials are being used. They're cutting down the sizes. You can even get things specifically made to your own personal dimensions. Now, are underquilts expensive? You bet your ass they are. This particular underquilt will run you about $200, which includes shipping. If you get longer underquilts, well, that's going to go up in price. So if you're going to look for an underquilt, right now the market value from Cottage Industries is between $200 and $350. That is fact, and that is true. I'm not the national spokesperson for underquilts, just to let you know. This is just my method. I use partial underquilts, the 2/3 underquilt, which is my method of insulating my body. It's been effective in various weather conditions, but there's certain drawbacks for underquilts you have to be aware of. There's drawbacks with any type of insulation, you just have to figure out what they are. So it's important to know the pros and the cons, and here are some of the cons. Con number one, it's down. You're going to have to protect it like you would a down sleeping bag. So you're going to have to put this thing in some sort of dry bag or another method to actually protect it if you're going to be encountering wet weather. The other problem is when you get to the lower spectrum of the rating of the underquilt, be it 30 degrees, 20 degrees, 0 degrees, the colder the wind, and when the wind has direct contact against the underquilt, it will suck away the heat that you're actually capturing from your body in the underquilt. It will suck it away. And it's happened on a number of occasions. So this is where using your tarp is really important. You have to pitch your tarp in a way to be very cognizant of which way the wind is blowing, and if you have a minimalist tarp, you're going to have to be extra careful as to your location and how to break the wind from attacking your underquilt. Those are the cons, and you got to be aware of it. It's important to know. Now, if you're only exposed to one type of underquilt, like a full-length underquilt, for instance, and you're only exposed to one type of suspension system, like the Jackstar Better suspension system, well, then you're going to draw certain conclusions that may not be complete and total fact. What you really should do is, before you start spitting out information that you think you know, perhaps go on the internet, research different areas on underquilts, there are several different websites out there, including my own, watermonkey.net, shameless plug, that actually go over different suspensions, different underquilts, different areas of the hammock community to give you a full and complete understanding. Because when you start giving out information that isn't complete and totally correct, then it becomes a disconnect with reality. And I can't have that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for doing your own thing, start from scratch, figuring your own way out. That's great. A lot of innovations have come that way. However, what I do have a problem with is taking what you learned in a very small amount of time and a very limited access to certain things, and then making certain conclusions and making them as fact or appear as fact. Well, then I have a little bit of a problem with it. I've been doing hammock camping and hammock hiking for over 3 years, and I've done many multi-days in many different types of weather, including deep winter, snowshoeing, you name it. I've been a part of it in an effort to understand and better prepare myself for the different elements I'm going to be in when it comes to hammocking. So once I gather that data, and then I also go to other sources that also have been in that particular similar situations and compared information, then I'm able to draw a conclusion and then spit out information that's, if not factual, really damn close. So that's all I'm saying. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay gangsta. Water Monkey loves you. I'm going to leave you with this. We really need to be getting on this real soon. This, my friend, is awesome. Top quilts are the way to go. Now, I'm Water Monkey from watermonkey.net. Get out and hang. Convert a tenter or two. Do your research. And always stay gangsta.